In this video, we cover the making of our new fog light, which I could have bought, but I didn't. Let's start off with my original problem. This is the fog light that came off the Mini. I started slightly tinting the lens. Then I found out that the bracket was all rusted, so I cut that off. Took it apart to see where the bolts are, and they're like molded in, and I started about taking that off, and I thought, well, I'll just make a new bracket. Then I thought, I've got a 3D printer, so let's do that as a task and see if we can come up with something new and actually waste my time in making something and actually not just spending another £12 on a lamp off eBay, which will just rust again as well. So how do we start? Well, first off, I knew I wanted to really keep this design of light because it is Mini related. It's quite common on the rear of a classic Mini, but I just wanted to maybe fit it a little bit more snugger to the under the bumper, which I'll try and cut to some other videos at some point near the end of this to show you how it's fitted. So yeah, we kept that. This used an old light bulb, and you can see it's already rusted, and all this. I thought I could try and completely replace all this and maybe just reuse the wiring because obviously the plugs are correct. So that we put to one side. What we did have off the shelf was a Formula 1 LED fog light, which I said I wasn't going to buy one, but I had technically already bought this. I didn't know what I was going to do with it. It was a fiver. Took it apart, and we had this light ring light LED thingy that we could maybe reuse. It's got 3 wires on there, ground, 12 volts, and then the yellow wire is if you put 12 volts to that, it flashes like they do on a Formula 1 car. So the first thing we did, I like to sort of design stuff and try and print them as quickly as I can before I go design a little bit and then try and test that bit and print it and see if it fits and then move on to the next section. So the first thing we did was we drew up this, measured it up, and we printed a test base out of a bit of PLA. And I also attempted to make the mounts as well. And it wasn't far off. It nearly fitted. The thing with these lenses is where they're injection molded, I think they're not technically a square. The sides pull in and the corners poke out a bit. So you draw a square on the CAD. This isn't really a square in real life, but it was close. So we created a new version because we knew we were getting close with a slightly tweaked shape. I then, at the same time, what I then like to do is, well, I know I'm getting quite close to one part of the design. I then start incorporating another part of the design, which was the mounts for this actual lamp. And as you can see, it's a bit hard. You can see there's 4 holes, but you couldn't really get screws to them. But I thought what I could do is, we'll 3D print some little stubs, little nubbins, and then we mount this to it. And you can see they'd poke through, and what we could do is then just melt those and then that over the top, and that would like fix it in like rivets. So that was good. I think this one nearly fitted. It was very close to being fitted, so we were getting closer. I didn't want it too big a gap, but we were fairly confident on the next version. So we then moved on. So that fitted, so we forgot about that. Didn't need to do any more on that. So the next version looks nearly exactly the same, slightly more tweaked. We made a 3D printed hole in the back there for the wires to go through. And that goes in. Brilliant. We then also started designing the base, and this is again PLA, and this is where I just hacked it a little bit when I tried to put it on the cars as a test fit. So I'll try and insert some video footage, and basically I 3D scanned using an iPhone, using the front facing lidar camera. I 3D scanned the rear valance, and this allowed me then to design a mount that followed the curvature of the rear valance. That would then screw onto that. That would then, through some sort of fixings, would then bolt onto the valance. and that's nearly it. The only last thing we had to do was I 3D printed a TPU slightly rubberized gasket, which I may make a little bit thicker, who knows, but we'll just see how it goes. And that would drop into there, and the lens go in there. See how waterproof that got. So once we did all that, those versions, we were fairly confident enough to go with the full version. Put some lightning holes in here. Actually made the thing a little bit thicker than it needed to be. But we made some M6, M7 holes. We're going to put some rib nuts in the back of the valance and bolt through. We also then put some mounting holes that we can then screw this to. And the wire, I could have gone straight into the valance, but there's a rubber hole anyway, a grommet hole on the Mini. So I'm going to run through that and the wire out the side. So yeah, this is looking good. We just now need to do the next stage, will be sorting out this wiring. Putting this on and actually melting those tabs off. For the first time I made them slightly longer on the very final version. So we'll either get a soldering iron in there or a heat gun bumper repair thing. And yeah, that's looking good. We're just waiting for some screws to turn up. We'll screw that on there with some self-tappers. And yeah, so first thing to do is sort this wiring out and figure out how we're going to join these wires to these wires. Are they long enough? Can we go straight to the circuit board? Do we do a little bit of a gap? Whatever. And then we can put this all together and try it on the car. Okay, we're back with some screws and a weird screwdriver that I found with the soldering iron. So yeah, some stainless screws. We want that. I'm going to feed this through that hole there because that's where I think it will come out. Obviously going to have to undo these screws once we go fit this for the first time against the car, but for now we'll just get it ready before we go out on site. Fat fingers. Oh, time lapses. Okay, we fit our TPU gasket. See how long that lasts. Let's see if we can find some screws. Yeah, that's fitted. A couple of screws, which I should really paint black because there we have our absolutely zero cost fog light. Okay, switch to the car and to the workshop. Pew.